All right, let's have a talk. Let's talk about healing. As in, what is it? What does it mean? What is it tied to? And what does it have to do with anything? And what is the importance of it? Now, first and foremost, I'm not talking about any kind of health industry. I'm not talking about the medical control boards or anything like that that are, quite frankly, run amok. I'm talking about actual healing as a process, as part of the human experience. Healing itself begins the second you take a breath. It is a system tied to the human experience in everyone. Everyone. And it's been this way for thousands and thousands, thousands and thousands of years. Breathing itself is part of the healing explanation, healing understanding. Breathing itself is part of it. So when you take your first breath, the healing process begins. It's part of growing. It's part of cell division. It's part of keeping you in spec. In other words, here you're born a certain way and you're going to stay in specification, human specification. How are we born? That sort of thing. Spec. Keeping you in that certain spec is the responsibility of the inborn thing into us called the healing process. It doesn't stop. It doesn't even slow down until your allotment of time. In other words, people live 60, 70, 80, 90 years. This is a natural process, the process of birth, death. They live this length of time, and I'm just saying in general. I know accidents happen and this happens and that happens. I understand all that. Believe me, I've been through a tremendous amount of trauma and grief, so I get all that. However, we're talking about the healing process here. And it expands from there. We're going to expand to take a look at it as well, okay? So when your allotted time is over, let's say you're going to live to be 85. That's the time when your healing process slows down to meet the cosmos, in other words, God, and the timing of all that of, hey, it's your time to leave. It's your time to move on. It's your time to, let me pick a Christian word because I was raised in that. It's your time to come home and see the Father. That sort of thing. The whole idea of that. Okay? But the healing process is always with us. It's always fighting off toxins. It's always fighting off things that are coming from the outside. We get banged up, we get scraped, we break bones, this happens, that happens, this happens, that happens. The body is going to go, okay, my job is to heal and put the body back into spec. So I'm going to do just that. And it just keeps doing that and doing that and doing that and doing that. And even when we live in a toxified world like the one we live in now, and you're going to have to listen to the audios to gain a better perspective of that. And if you don't listen to audios, if it's not something you want to hear, then I don't know what to tell you. I'm not the right person for you. Okay? Just that simple. So, let me save you a whole bunch of time and problems. Just tell you straight up, hey, I'm not the right person you should be talking to. Because I do talk to people. And so I want that to be as helpful as possible. So, healing also, because we are four component beings, we have a body, a physiology. We have a mind, which is the consciousness, very expansive. We have a spirit component, which is all of the energies inside of us also tapped into all of the energies up to and right into Creator of all, okay, i.e. God, if you will. All of those energies, that's all part of Creator of all. And the energies inside of us is part of Creator of all. That's why it's always said, always has been said, and always will be said, even going back before the cataclysm of 13,000 years ago, when the whole planet just got wasted, just massively messed up. And all kinds of things died. It's always been said, there is a little piece of God inside of us. Of course. If there wasn't, we wouldn't heal. I wouldn't be able to talk to you. We wouldn't have consciousness. Okay? It's that important. And it's related to healing, which is why I bring it up in this little chat here. Now, so you got the spirit component, which is energies. I know I went off on a tangent on that because we kind of need to. And then you have the soul component. And the soul component is the tie. It is sort of like the tie to the cosmos, to the Creator of all. All right? It's a connectivity to everything else. Everything tied into the Creator of all, that would be God, is tied through the soul component. Okay? Very important concept to wrap your mind around. I know. We're confused by the spirit and soul. Thank you for the confusing upbringing we all had here in the West. But this is just the reality of it. The healing applies to all four of those components. If you're trying to, if your healing system is fighting against itself. In other words, okay, I'll heal my body, but my brain's messed up, or I'm suffering from this disturbance and that disturbance and this malady and that malady, or this trauma, this grief, this. The healing is not doing all four components. In the real world, the healing always does all the four components. That doesn't mean we allow it to do it, but it's trying to do it. We maybe need help to navigate that, which is why people talk to me. They need help to navigate so they can navigate back to their spec. This is how we're born. This is the system we're in. All of this is just how life is on Earth. Now, speaking of Earth, let me tell you something else. It's tied to healing. On Earth, we live within this one system. It's called the planetary system. The planetary system. It's one system. It has a myriad bunch of things that make it function, but it is one system, and we are tied into it. It is, in essence, the righteousness system, but not in terms of a bunch of religious rhetoric, but in terms of the physics of the oneness of what makes all life function. Okay, including the human life. So it's important to wrap the mind around when you're thinking about healing. We live in a cosmos. We live on this planet within the cosmos, okay? The planet, in the solar system, in the one region of galaxy, in the whole galaxy, within God only knows, literally, God only knows how many galaxies there are. But all of this is the cosmos. And this is the material world cosmos I'm talking about. And there's stacks above it, stack, higher levels that are not the material world. Spirit world, angelic world, whatever the simplest idea is that you can grasp, take that one and think about that for a second. All of this has to do with our healing system. All of it. So, being messed up by trauma or grief, or being messed up by just confused thinking, throws you out of spec, and the healing system is working overtime to try and fix that. Okay, sometimes it needs help, which is why they have things like antibiotics. Sometimes it needs help, which is why they have things like herbs, certain plants that grow out of the ground. Sometimes it needs help, which is why they have things like, okay, this person is entrenched in wisdom, maybe you should talk to them. And we're talking shamans from a long, long time ago. Okay, we're talking Earth history here. So they've always had these kind of beings. They're entrenched in wisdom, how the planet works, how this happens, how that happens, basically human being 101, okay? So when I talk about healing, we are going to look at healing in terms of human being 101. What are we? How are we? What do we function as? How does it all work? That sort of thing. Okay, that is good enough for the video to discuss healing. There will be more on this page, so just keep in touch and it will pop up. So, thank you very much. We'll see you in the next one.